So last weekend I gave Evelyn an oil change and a bath, and my oldest asked if we can go for a ride. Now typically all that consists of is us just you know, scooting around the park at like 15 miles an hour for 20-25 minutes at most. So you know, we scooted around just 15 mile an hour, maybe 25 minutes or so. And anytime you kind of cruise around and just crawl around at that kind of speed on the bike, you know, your temps will peak out at 212, 214. You know, your fans kick on. So anyways, after about 25 minutes of scooting around at, you know, high idle, basically idle temperatures, pulling the bike back in, and I notice a strange and peculiar sound going on, right? I'm like, well, that's new. I've never heard that before. And it's like this high-pitched whistling. And I did not capture this sound on camera, but what I did do is find a guy on the FZ6 forums. That's 600riders.com, I believe is that forum. Now the FZ6 is similar to the FZ6R. In fact, it predates the FZ6R by a generation, and it's basically a naked bike. Same engine, you know, based on this 03 to 05 R6 engine. And this guy posted a video, and I downloaded it so I could share it with you guys. Check this out. This is exactly the sound I was hearing. So here's the deal. If anybody ever asks you how long a stock Yamaha water pump will last, evidently you can tell them about 12 years or 62,000 miles, whichever comes first. Now the water pump has not yet failed. In fact, I've still been commuting on the bike daily for the past week, and it has not reproduced the sound a single time since. However, with a sound like that, just hearing it once, man, is enough to kind of put the fear in you, right? Like the assumption that this water pump can essentially go at any time. Now, check this picture out right here. Now what you see broken in that picture is a ceramic washer and a mechanical seal. Here's the mechanical seal, here's your water pump impeller, and that ceramic washer rides right in between there, I guess on the face of the back of the impeller. So my assumption perhaps is that the ceramic washer on my water pump, I guess, has failed, just like you see in that picture. We don't know for sure. So what are our options here? Well, we have two options. Both options involve emergency surgery. There's no way around it, right? Today is Saturday, and we are leaving this coming Thursday to head to Big Bend National Park. We're going on that 5-day motorcycle excursion. So we certainly have to do something here and now. So our two options are to rebuild the pump. Service manual tells you exactly how to do it. Now, to rebuild the pump involves purchasing about 25 or 30, maybe 35 bucks worth of parts, and you got to pay shipping too. Or you can buy a whole dadgum new water pump. I say new to me. This is off a 2016 FZ6R, so it's the newest of the new, basically, right? They quit producing the bike for the 2017 model year, so this is about as fresh and clean and low mileage as you can get. Granted, I don't know the actual mileage, but being a 2016 model, you best believe there is not 62,000 miles on this water pump. So suffice it to say, a 2016 year model pump ought to do just fine. This, 45 bucks, free shipping, eBay. So we're going to get to skip all this disassembly nonsense because we're essentially just going to swap pump for pump. And to do that is quite simple. All you'll need is a new copper washer for the drain bolt and a new O-ring for the back of the pump where it stabs into the engine case. Now, these pumps are mechanically driven. They are driven by the oil pump. See this blade here? The oil pump has its own shaft that has a flat blade that fits right into this groove, and so the crankshaft turns the entire rotating assembly, cams and all, right? And it turns the oil pump, which is chain driven, and that blade on the oil pump is stabbed into this female receiver on the water pump, thereby powering the water pump, spinning the impeller, and sucking the coolant in and cooling your bike. So real quick, here's your two parts. This is your copper washer. Now obviously this copper washer is probably okay, but you know, it's like $3, guys, so we're gonna be sure and replace that. But I've already taken the old O-ring out of this channel here. Again, so copper washer for the drain bolt, there's your part number there, and the rubber O-ring for the main, you know, shaft or the housing for the water pump where it stabs into the engine. There's your part number for that O-ring there. Now outside of all that, the only other thing to consider according to the service manual is Loctite on your two bolts when you install this thing back in there. Alright, so obviously your first step is going to be to drain the coolant because you've got to remove the inlet hose, the outlet hose, and the breather hose. We are going to capture our coolant because it's fairly new. It's only a few months old since we did the valve job on this bike. So we're going to capture and recover the coolant and put it back in there when we're all said and done. Your drain bolt is an 8mm. Alright, so your inlet and outlet hoses are just on there with some standard hose clamps. You can get those off with a Phillips head. Kind of help it out with the flathead. Getting it off there. And your breather hose, you can use a little needle nose or something similar to pinch the tabs, get it off. Now this 8mm bolt is just there to hold the housing cover on the pump, so you don't mess with that one. You'll want to remove this guy and this guy. That's a 5mm hex head. Just kind of wiggle it apparently, and whoop, there she is. Dang. Now you see there's an oil seal in there. You can see some mow tool here. You have to bear that in mind. So it does provide access straight into the crankcase where there's oil sitting in that pan, guys, so you want to be mindful of that. So just real quick, looking at this thing, the new one, the 2016 model one, has a certain feel to it, and I can tell you that this one spins easier than the 2016. I also want you to pay attention to this right here though. See that residue? It would appear as though the weep hole has been functioning according to design, which that's a little concerning. Furthermore, as this captured coolant sits here, it's collecting all sorts of smuts, and it looks like ass. Now, I'm pretty much all out of engine ice, so I'm just gonna have to run to the store and get something, because I don't know, yeah, we're not gonna put that back in the bike, no way. And you can see some Loctite pieces has fallen in there. I mean, that's less than ideal. Now there is, I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a bit of a sheen there. So, and I know this looks like oil. It's not motor oil, trust me. Besides, Motul is freaking red. It wouldn't be black. But engine ice, so you saw it when it was coming out. It had that nice translucent kind of blue color, but once it piles on thick, once it's been, you know, heated up, it does turn this dark dingy color. But I'm just not really feeling that, guys. I don't want to put that back in the bike. So we're gonna run to, I guess, Walmart or O'Reilly's, and you just got to make sure you get the right stuff. I believe it's got to be ethylene glycol based. So I'll go shopping and grab some of that stuff. However, that is completely irrelevant to the point of this video, which is to get the other pump put in. So we can scoot that back underneath there to catch whatever else is going to catch, since we're not going to use that. So let's get down here. Remember, I was explaining to you how this blade system works here on this shaft. But really interesting that the weep hole has been functioning, right? Very interesting. So there you can see, right in there, there's the blade and the sprocket of the oil pump. And right out of our frame of reference is a chain running along the outside edge inside there of the oil pump sprocket. So there you go, guys. So you can see the orientation of that blade, and what we'll want to do is turn the shaft on the new one in such a way that it matches that orientation, so that it'll stab right in there. So what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of cleaning up this mating surface inside here. See there? Making sure it's good and clean for the new O-ring to seal to. Now, the service manual does call for grease on that O-ring, so we will certainly do that. This is kind of fascinating though, seeing the guts here, because what I'm looking at right now, and I'll see if you guys can see, you can actually see the oil. Can you see that? You can see the oil line. It's right there, just chilling in the pan. 3 quarts of Motul right there. I don't know, it's interesting to look at. You know what I mean? And so just real quick here, a side-by-side comparison. 2009 model water pump and the 2016. Our original one, you know, it's got some drag to it, but compared to the 2016, it has slightly less drag. So I don't know what that means. I'll tell you what we'll do though in a later video, probably when I get back from our little expedition here down to Big Bend National Park. When we get back, I will disassemble the original water pump, and we will find the failure inside. We will find the source of that crazy squealing sound. And if it's anything like the guy on the 600 Riders forum with that FZ6, I would imagine we're going to find that ceramic washer next to the mechanical seal, just, you know, basically snapped in half, just like you saw in that picture. That's what I'm assuming we'll find. Anyways, let's get the O-ring greased up, placed on here in this groove, and go ahead and stab the new pump in there. And we just got some standard lithium grease here. I would imagine a little bit goes a long way, you know. Kind of clean that up around there a little bit. Get that residual smuts off of there. And guys, she is ready to stab in there. Now, outside of eyeballing this, your guess is as good as mine as far as the methodology here for lining up this little blade mechanism with the oil pump. But looks like eyeballing is about as the best we can do here. Yep. All right, well there it is. Yep. If it wasn't lined up, it wouldn't have seated like that just now, so there you go. See there? It's stabbed, guys, that's it. Alright, so don't forget your Loctite. A little dab will do you. Doesn't take much. And don't forget, guys, always reference your service manual for torque specs. So these two bolts are going to be 7.2 foot-pound. There you go. New water pump installed. Alright, so we gotta button up our hoses, right? Inlet hose and outlet hose, breather hose need to be tightened back down. And while we are thinking about it, let's not forget to replace the copper washer for the drain plug. There we go. Alright guys, and just like that, our replacement water pump is fully installed. I just got to run by O'Reilly's and get some new coolant, and I happen to have a $5 off coupon just for such a thing, so that'll work out just fine. Now if anything weird happens, you guys will be the first to know. I will report back and tell you what's going on with the bike. But a 2016 model pump, we're talking 7 years newer than the pump that was already on there, so it can only be a good thing, right? So anyways guys, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments down below. As always, this has been me, that's been you, it's HalfClickup. I will catch you guys on the next tutorial. Peace and goodbye.